Hi, I'm Jared Farney, and I wanted to talk about the music design for Heroes Workshop's newest game, Attack of the Astrals, and the music that is in the demo. Attack of the Astrals is a story about champions from distant lands banding together to defend the realm against a clan of cosmic warriors called the Astrals that strike with the power of a falling star. From the earliest conversations with the two main developers, Rob and Harry, it became very clear to me that the heart of this game is the dual nature between the forces of this world and the unnatural enemy that they faced. And I felt that it would be extra important to reflect that in the music. So all throughout the music you have these organic, almost traditional fantasy-style instruments like violin, cello, flute, horns. And that represents our champions in what feels like constant battle with these unnatural invaders, which I reflected in things like guitars and synths, and in heavily affected organic instruments, and anything that I could really do to bring out the aggressive, brutish nature of these Astrals. The majority of the game takes place in different biomes and levels, and each level needs to have its own vibe and music, and this is so far what we have for the demo. Lost Haven was the first music I wrote for the game, and I really wanted to make sure that the constant cosmic battle was really felt here. This battle takes place in the heart of the entire realm, and its nature is being destroyed by the brutish astral flame. But being a drummer, I needed to add some extra zest to it. Pretty much everything is done in groups of 5 for the whole first main chunk. The champions here are represented mainly by the violins and the horns. But being that this was the first track that I wrote for the entire game, I really wanted to emphasize the difference between the champions and the Astrals, which can be heard going into the second section, which really establishes the Astral motif, which is these 6 notes here. This motif appears in every single biome that is currently being contested with the Astrals in some capacity. Cloven Castle is an ancient fortress that has been impenetrable to countless battles throughout this land's history, but all it took was one night of an astral assault to split the entire castle asunder. I come from a marching band drum corps background, and so of course, naturally I wanted to invoke the marching spirit, but with the more drummery polyrhythmic twists. The champions here are represented by a trio of trumpet, trombone, and euphonium. For this one, I really wanted to showcase the corruption that is happening to this world and this military establishment through the instruments that are being played. So you have things like noble, beautiful violins that have all these crazy twisting effects on them. Everything is battling in this track, including the drums, which at a certain point in the track split off to be hard panned to both sides and have almost a drum battle representing both sides of the battle. The battle eventually reaches its boiling point, culminating, as all good battles do, in a synth guitar epic duel to the death. Wailing Anchorage is the last new battle added to the demo, and it's one of my favorites. This battle takes place on a trade port steeped in the world's history. The port was once thriving with the many different cultures, but it's now frozen over from the twisted songs of the frigid Astrals. This game is 90% battle music, and so I wanted to try something a little different with this one. The other battle songs are pretty aggressive and constantly bashing you with rhythm, and I wanted this one to be more of a slow burn into battle. So the first drum smack doesn't even come in until about 45 seconds. Then once the drums do enter, the track steadily increases in intensity as these people are holding on to the port for their life and quickly becoming overrun by the Astrals. As the corruption starts to set in, you really start to hear it the most in the drums and the synths. The whole track eventually spirals into corruption as the astral side of the music takes over. And the rhythms start to go into some fun places here, where we go from our cool triplety 3/4 vibe into a more 9/8 groove. Back, 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 back. Eventually, the melody returns with a more hopeful, almost triumphant, the heroes are here moment. Being a video game, each track needs to loop endlessly to suit all types of players. So if someone takes forever with the strategy and is slowly playing through, they need the music to work just the same as someone that's been playing it for 1,000 hours and beats the battle in 2 seconds. And so we essentially created a second full loop of the entire composition with different instrumentation, different effects, slightly different melodic fragments or chord progressions that all work interchangeably to make it so that when you win a battle, you get a nice quick transition immediately into the more chill, droney nature intermission track. And then you can get up, go get a coffee, recover from the rough battle you just had. And then once you press battle for the next one, the transition instantly back into straight battle as if you had never left. Here's what that kind of sounds like with some of the different biomes. There's much more music to be shared as more of the game releases. This is just a glimpse into the world that we're creating. So please check out the demo, join the Discord, tell all your friends and loved ones about it, and I will see you next time.